We are about to embark upon a series of strange and exciting, dangerous adventures. Adventures that will lead us to all parts of the world.
Hello and welcome to another Bad Comic Review. This time we're looking at Predator vs. Wolverine issue 4. This is the final installment of the miniseries from Marvel Comics, written by Benjamin Percy, art by Ken Lashley on the present day story, Kai Zama on the Muramasa era, and Gavin Guidry on the Westchester era. Color art by Juan Fernandez on present day, Alex Guimaraes on the Muramasa era, and Matthew Wilson on the Westchester era. Letters by VC's Cory, cover by Marco Cicchetto. Assistant editor was Lindsay Kowick, edited by Sarah Brunstad. Cover's pretty good. It reminds me of Havoc and Wolverine, but it is action-packed. It's supposed to be kind of abstract, so I'm fine with it. But we start off at the present day where Wolverine and the Predator are finally facing off, and it's pretty brutal right away. We learn how Wolverine got his shoulder injury, and then we jump to the past to Muramasa's estate and Wolverine facing off with the Predator there. That is a fairly brief story because they do get interrupted, and then we are over at the Westchester estate of the Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters many years later, and the Predator shows up to attack the school. Wolverine makes sure to try and get the innocent people out of the way, but they insist on being helpful, and the Predator pulls back mostly due to their interference, and he's obviously losing as well because he was expecting really to fight one person and not a whole team of mutants. Then we finally get some resolution, and it's pretty brutal the way the story ends. It's well done. The Ken Lashley art is fantastic, and so is Kai Zama's art. I think both styles clash a little bit. They're very, very different styles, but they're both really well done, pretty well detailed. I think Zama needs to work a little bit on faces. Wolverine looks a bit silly at times in the face, but otherwise, pretty solid art style. The Gavin Guidry art, I think, needs some work. It's a completely different style than the other two, but it often looks very ill-defined, especially on faces. Wolverine's face particularly. Nightcrawler looks okay, and Rogue looks okay too for the most part, but it's a much more cartoonish style of art that really doesn't seem to match the tone of the book. As far as the way the book ends, I think it was a fitting end to the series, and it wrapped it up pretty well. There's always the possibility of a sequel here, but this one takes place over more than 100 years, so it'd be kind of hard to compete with that on such a epic scale. If they had done one that was a smaller story taking place over a shorter period of time, much like Batman vs. Predator, I think that'd be an interesting story too, but this was done pretty well. Like I said, the art doesn't always make a whole lot of sense because the styles look contradictory at times, but they're supposed to be different settings. It sort of works and it sort of doesn't. Overall though, I would recommend this. I thought it was an interesting story. These single issues are really overpriced. This was $6, and I think that for what you're getting, it's a good story, but it's very, very overpriced. So I would try and get the trade paperback instead of hunting down the single issues. Unless you can find them really cheap, you're more likely to save money by buying it in a nicer quality format. But I was thoroughly entertained. I thought these were a lot of fun to read, and I would recommend them. Unfortunately though, it seems that each issue had one storyline that was perpetually weaker in art. Thankfully, the storyline does save it, and it is a pretty good work by Benjamin Percy, which really surprised me. He tends to be very hit and miss with Marvel, so I didn't have high expectations, but I'm glad I read this. I thought it was a lot of fun. If you're looking for a mutant book that isn't some horrible Krakoan era nightmare mess, this is probably for you, and it should appeal to both fans of Wolverine and the Predator. That's gonna do it for this one. Thank you so much for listening and supporting the channel. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future reviews. If you'd like to help the channel out in other ways, links are in the description to various support methods, and as always, we hope to see you on the next one.